Hello, this video that I'm doing today is on S-ing off your HTC One Max. And S-ing off just simply means to security off your phone. It's actually the third and final step to getting your phone fully and completely and totally rooted. I just want to go into my browser and show you the pages of everything, just so you know it looks more familiar to you. So here's everything that we've downloaded. This is the XDA developers page for the link to the T6 insecure kernel. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually listed right here. It says download T6 insecure kernel zip. Okay. Here is the Firewater website with the instructions. And it looks like this. It's a green, black, and white page. And you slide down here, and where it says download Firewater here in number 3, you click here, and that will begin to download Firewater for you. When we go to the mega page, this download is for the Android SDK, which is what we're about to use. It asks you 2 different ways that you want to download it. When you go to the mega page, whether or not you want to download it to your computer, or whether or not, if you have a mega page, you want to send it to your drive naturally. You're going to use it on your computer, which is this red box here. So you're going to click download to your computer and download it from there. The next thing that we have is the Pac-Man Nightly zip. This is actually the ROM that we're going to use. This is the exact ROM that I used. So instead of giving you the Pac-Man website, I took you directly to the ROM I used, because I can't guarantee that any other ROM will work. You know, ROMs are like that. One works, another one doesn't. This is the GApps page. That was an XDA developers page that popped up for a second and then went away. This is where you download your super user zip. I don't know if you can see that here. I can highlight it, I think. Oh, I can't highlight it. But on top of archive, it says super user. Now here I have the instructions. I'm also going to put them down in the description. But to get started, you must be rooted. And I give a link to a web page that has the instructions on how to root if you're not rooted. You must have your bootloader unlocked. I did a video on how to unlock your bootloader, and I have the link here. The method that I use is from HTC Dev, so it doesn't work with the Verizon version. Apparently Verizon has blocked you being able to unlock your bootloader. So for Verizon guys, I guess you gotta unlock your bootloader another way. And you must also have an unsecure kernel on your phone in order for Firewater to work. Now ultimately S-off, like I said, is the third way that you unlock your phone, and the third way that you root your phone. So there's 3 barriers. First, you have to root your phone, which is putting a custom recovery on there, installing super user, and busybox. So you do that. Then the next thing you have to do is unlock your bootloader. Before you unlock your bootloader, though, you can change your ROM. You can start installing ROMs without unlocking your bootloader. I did, but it's not much fun because a lot of them require a bootloader unlocked, and you still can't do very much with that ROM. It's still a lot like stock, even though it's a different ROM. So you unlock your bootloader. Then the next thing you have to do is you have to get S-off. What S-off does is, of course, rooting allows you to put rooted applications onto your phone. And unlocking your bootloader allows you to access more ROMs into your device. It allows you just to be able to do more things inside of your device with your bootloader unlocked. And S-ing off your device allows, which is short for security off, allows you to uninstall the stock apps that come inside of your ROM. Because a lot of people, even though they make custom ROM, they still put a lot of bloatware. They still, for instance, I have a Sprint phone. They still put all of the Sprint apps in sometimes. They still have all of the HTC apps. And so those things you may not want, you have to be S-off in order to be able to delete. So I have actually been rooted for about 3.5 months now, but I've only been able to delete the stock apps on my ROM for the last couple of days since I finally figured out how to do this Firewater. And just so you know, my phone is the HTC One Max. It's the Sprint variant. It's the T6WHL version, just for even more detail. And I'm running, when I did this process, I was actually on 4.4.2 and since 5.5 when I started rooting and doing everything. Now I'm currently the ROM that we're going to install, that's actually going to be 4.4.4. So I do know that Firewater works with 4.4.4 because that's what this ROM is. It's all about the unsecure kernel. It's not really about the Firewater is all about the kernel. It's not really about the Android version. So just so people know, a few other people thought it was about their Hboot. They said that it didn't work. Runner and things like that didn't work with their Hboot 1.57. I'm not sure how true that is. My Hboot is 2.59. So here are the files that you have to download. You have to download the T6 kernel. You have to download Firewater. You have to download the androidsdkslim zip. And that's only for those of you who don't know where your platform tools is located on your computer. It may just be better to just re-download the Android SDK. And it's the very basic SDK. That's why it's called Slim. It has nothing but the platform tools inside, which has the fastboot and the ADB inside of it. Then you have to download these on your phone. You can either download it to your computer and transfer it to your phone, or you can download it directly to your phone. You have to download the Pac-Man ROM, which there's the link for that. You have to download the gaps that go with it, and then you have to download super user zip if you don't have it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the S-off process. Now before we start, Now they say that your battery should be at least 35% in order to do this. But I say at least 50. Mine is at 57%. Just because little hiccups sometimes happen, and it may take a little longer to do it, or you may have to do it 2 or 3 times in order for it to like fully take. So I recommend having 50% battery. We must make a backup of our current ROM on our phone. Now, for those of you who don't know how to make a backup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart my phone, and most people won't have the reboot into recovery, but I could actually reboot directly into recovery here. But instead, I'm going to just regularly reboot. And when my screen turns black, I'm going to hold down the volume down key. A lot of people, in order to reboot into their recovery, they power off the phone, and then they hold the power and the volume down key that way. Now, my phone doesn't show up very clear here because it's so bright, but fastboot is selected. What we need to do is we need to scroll down 1 and then press the power key over here to select recovery. Now it says entering recovery. I know you can't really see that very clearly, but I wanted to show something. So here we are. I have torque recovery. You may have clockwork mod recovery. Now what we need to do is back up, and in torque recovery you can name it. So I usually come here and I'll name it, and then you come down and you press go, and then you swipe this across and it'll back it up. Now I have a backup that I did yesterday. No, I'll go ahead and back it up. So this is the backup process. My backups normally take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. They're usually about 3.5 gigabytes large. So you see here that my phone is black when it's backing up. If you just let it sit, it'll be black during torque. And when it's done backing up, it will pop back on for you. Mine actually vibrates and pops back on, so I'll keep this recording to show that. Okay, so there it is, and it popped back up for me. So now I know that my backup is complete. And from here, let me just double check my instructions, but I believe, yeah, we can go ahead and we can do the T6 insecure kernel onto the phone. So we're going to go back now that it was successful, and we're going to say reboot, and we're going to boot into the bootloader. In order to put the boot.img from the insecure kernel, you have to be in the bootloader. And you see here, fastboot is selected. So it says open the T6 insecure kernel zip and extract the boot.img file to the platform tools folder where ADB and fastboot are placed. Okay. So you have to go to where you downloaded everything I told you to download into your computer. So mine are in my HTC root folder inside of my downloads. So I go here and I looked for, oh, I gotta switch. So here it is. Fastboot is up, and it goes from fastboot USB to, from plain fastboot to fastboot USB when you plug your data cable into the right port and into your phone. Now the next thing that we have to do is we can actually put the phone down now. Okay, so I'm on my computer. I'm going to go down to my folders. Here I have it open already. It's my HTC root folder that I created inside my downloads. I'm going to look for, see what's highlighted, Android SDK Slim. Okay, so it's this one. I'm going to double click that and open it. It's taking a second. I got a lot of stuff. Open on my computer. Okay, so now we've double clicked and we've opened our folder. Now we need to double click again on the folder that's in there. Then you come to the platform tools folder. What we want to do is click it once to highlight it. Then you go to this folder above it and it says extract to. What we're going to do is we're going to extract that to the desktop. So you extract it to the desktop and you say, I press cancel. I meant to press OK. And you press OK. Platform tools takes a couple of seconds, and it's on the it's on the desktop. If you look here, here's mine. So all you have to do is go to your desktop and see if it's there. Okay, so we got the folder onto the desktop. The next thing that we need to do, now that we've got our phone into the bootloader, is we need to plug our phone into the computer. And it's best practice to use the cord that came with your phone, but if you know you have another data cable that works with the phone, that's fine. I just suggest you use the HTC One Max cable. So if you look here, just fastboot is highlighted. Once you plug it in to the computer, it usually will go to fastboot USB. Let's see. The other thing is you have to make sure that you don't use a 3.0 port, because some computers have 3.0 ports. It's best for you to use the 2.0 ports on the computer, because they've been saying that if you use the 3.0, it won't work. So I had it in a charging port. I know you probably just heard the music there, the tone. I'll let you know I plugged it into my phone. I had it plugged into a charging port and not a information port. So now I plugged it into another port, and it went from fastboot USB from fastboot to fastboot USB. So we need to open the platform tools folder, and we need to take Firewater. I'm sorry, not Firewater. We need to take the boot.img that we downloaded. So we go back to the download, and we go into the T6 kernel. So you see here, you look for your T6 insecure kernel. You double click that the same way you just did with the platform tools. There's going to be a Verizon and a Sprint folder. You're going to click the Sprint folder, and right inside of the Sprint folder there's a boot.img, and you do the same thing we just did. You click the boot.img, you click extract to. Now this time you choose desktop, but then you're going to go down to platform tools because you want it to extract into the platform tools folder. Then you press OK, and it's going to go into the platform tools folder. It just takes a second for it to do it. Okay, and then we're going to do the command to put the insecure kernel on the phone. So I'm just going to show you my keyboard because I want it to be clear here. We need to right click and press shift, let go inside of this window here that's inside of the platform tools folder. Now when you get that, you're going to get a menu that opens up, and you're going to have an option here that's going to say open command window here, and you're going to press enter. The next thing that you want to do is you want to type in the code ADB space devices and press enter. And that should tell you what devices you have plugged into. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not ADB, it's fastboot. I'm sorry, we're in fastboot mode. So you do fastboot space devices and press enter. Now I don't know if you see that, but it's a FA3B, a series of letters and numbers, and the word fastboot. So that lets you know that it is communicating and connected to your phone. You have to type in fastboot devices in order to know whether or not your phone is communicating. Now the next thing you want to do is copy and paste this command line, and it is the fastboot space flash boot space boot.img, and you have to make sure that you put the img, because if you don't put the .img, it will not work. I did it a couple of times, and I was just typing the name because I was reading other instructions, and I was just typing the name of it, and when I was typing the name of it without the img, it didn't work. So here you have, it says finished and the total time. Once it tells you that it's finished and the total time, you've now put your new insecure kernel boot onto your phone. So you can close that window. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to go back into the platform tools folder. It should still be open, and we want to remove that boot.img out of it because it may affect the way Firewater works. The next thing that we want to do after we do that is we want to then boot the phone into recovery. So of course it's still in fastboot mode. What we want to do is roll it down, press reboot, I didn't mean to reboot the phone. I'm supposed to be rebooting into recovery. I'm supposed to press fastboot again. So it's powering on. I'm just going to turn it right back off. And so we're going to reboot it back into recovery, which you can either turn it off and press the power and volume down keys, or you can reboot. When the screen goes black, you press the volume down key and it goes into your bootloader. You select recovery, goes in that way, or you may be able to do like I did and just reboot into recovery. So here we are into the recovery. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to wipe our phone to factory. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do that. I'm wiping the phone and it says successful, and then we go back again, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to install all of the proper ROM zips. So we're going to go ahead and pick the nightly build, and then we're going to add to that, and we're going to do the gaps, and then we're going to install. It really only takes a couple of minutes. The other thing, the reason why I gave the super user zip is in case you don't have the super user zip, because super user is not built into this ROM. Every time I've done this, I lose super user. So the only thing I can say is that it's not built into the ROM. So I then have to go back and reinstall super user. And you need super user because Firewater actually uses super user to make your phone S off. You have to grant it super user. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go back one more, and we're going to now select super user, and then we're going to flash that. Super user takes a couple of seconds. Now what we want to do is we want to reboot. Now the way that we know that we have a new ROM is most of the time it comes on differently. It has a different splash screen and it has a different boot image, and so that's how we know that we have a different ROM. And there we have it. So there's the Pac-Man ROM. The other thing about this ROM is that it does not work on my phone. The only thing I can use this ROM for is Firewater. And what I mean by it doesn't work is it won't activate my phone services. It tries. You're going to see in a minute that it tries. I don't know if you have a Verizon phone or if you have another version other than Sprint, or you may have another version of the Sprint phone and it may work. But with the T6WHL version of the Sprint phone, it won't activate my phone services. So it asks, do we want to allow USB debugging? And we select OK. English is going to come up. Now it says wait just a second, or just a second. And it's actually trying to activate my phone now. But as soon as it gets into the phone, it just disconnects the call and it never activates. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. You guys can see if it works for you, because this ROM may be one that you want to play with and you want to see if you like it, but it doesn't actually work for me. So when they give me the activation, they tell me that they're actually activating the phone, I'm going to skip. the activation process, because I've done this enough times to know that it doesn't work. Well, there it is. So we're going to skip and skip again. I'm just going to skip everything because I don't need it for anything but the Firewater situation, and you get to select the launcher. Press OK, OK, and now you're into the ROM. Okay, and just so you can see what kernel is using kernel version 3.4.82-G1 483060 build at nightmare number 1. So that kernel works. I don't know if you can get that kernel separately or not, but and you can see it's Android 4.4.4. And the next thing that we want to do is go into our instructions and see what we do next now that we've installed the gaps, the super user. Okay, then let's check for the super user. So just to make sure we have it, because it's crucial, I'm coming here and there's the super user right there. So we have super user. The next thing we want to do is we let the new ROM load up, then we extract the Firewater file and put it into the platform tools folder. So I'm going to go back into my downloads folder, and you can see here I have Firewater. I'm going to take that and right click it, and I can cut it or copy it, all depending on what you want. And then you shrink the folder down and you open the platform tools folder and you right click and you paste it, whether you cut it or whether you copied it. You just press paste and it'll paste there for you. So I have mine actually on the desktop. I have to find it. Here it is. So I'm going to cut it from the desktop. Close this. Not close it, but shrink it. And then paste it here inside the platform tools folder that I just did the boot.img file in. Then the next thing we do is we right click and shift again, same way we did before. And we're going to open the command window here. Now when we open the command window, the first thing that we do is we have to check once again if the phone is working. Now this is where we do the ADB devices, because we're doing ADB commands. And as you can see here, the phone came up again and the word device beside it. So we're going to go to our instructions that have all of the commands here. So we've done ADB devices. We know the phone is connected. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to search, because one of the things I've noticed, so we go down and we go into search and we put in devices, is that I also lose connection for this phone. And then we click settings and we go in device manager with the drivers. So we're going to look and see, does it come up in device manager in any way as an Android device. And let's see, I have Android USB devices, And yes, it comes up as my HTC. If not, it's going to be listed down here with all of these yellow exclamation points down here with these, and it's going to just say I think it's let me see what is labeled in the folder. And anyone, One Max. It just says One Max. I don't know if you can see that here, but it's going to say One Max. So you're going to go into Device Manager and look for One Max. And if you don't see One Max, then you go to Android USB devices and look for it to say my HTC. If it says One Max, then you're going to have to right click One Max, and you're going to have to do update the driver software. You're going to have to say browse from your computer, because you've already done the HTC drivers if you've rooted and all of that. So you have the drivers. Pick from a list of drivers on your computer. You're going to use Android USB devices, and then you're going to press next. Your HTC one should be right at the top of the list. You're going to select that, and you're going to press next. It's going to give the driver, and then when you're done, it's going to reboot Device Manager, and it'll be moved up here to the Android USB devices, and it'll say my HTC. So that way you know when you do the commands in the command line, it will recognize your phone as an Android device. Okay? So we've already done the ADB devices. We know the phone is connected. If you had to redo all of that, if you had to go in and you had to reinstall or reconnect your drivers to your phone, then you want to do devices again. So you want to tap ADB devices again, and make sure that it comes up like this, because if it doesn't come up, then that means it's not communicating with your phone. If you that's what you want to do if it doesn't come up for you. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to be able to copy the next command line. And I say copy because it's easier to not make mistakes. So we copy it over, and then we go back to the command prompt window, and we paste, and we press enter. Alright, and it gave us some information. And it was the ADB wait for device line. Then the next line is ADB shell, and we're going to copy that, come to the command window, and paste it, press enter. Now it should say shell at and your phone T6SPR, and then the $sign. The next thing you want to do is either type SU or copy SU. And it thinks that I wrote it incorrectly, so it's not trying to let me copy. So I'm just going to type in SU and press enter. Now, super user is going to come up on the phone, and I missed it, so I gotta type SU again. Enter. Now the grant is going to come up to grant it. So you want to grant the super user. You've now given Firewater super user access to your phone. If you get to that point, I'm almost certain that Firewater is going to work for you, because I couldn't get the ADB shell with the $sign to come up for the first 5 or 6 times I tried it. Once I got that and the super user grant, was able to get Firewater. So once you get that, if you get the grant, super user access, I'm almost certain that Firewater is going to work for you. Because of course you never know until it says that it's successful. Then you want to come and you want to copy the chmod 755 command and paste that into your next command and press enter. Then you want to come and you want to copy the last command line, which is the /data/local/temp/firewater. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste that. That's actually going to start up. You see, it started up the Firewater application. You want to say yes to this question. It's asking you, do you know what you're doing? Once you say yes, Firewater is going to start. Now, mine isn't doing anything because I already have S off. But it's going to go through a couple of stages. It's going to tell you that it's pouring. After it pours, it's going to reboot your phone. It may do it 2 times or maybe 3 times. After it reboots, it's going to pop back up and it's either going to tell you that your phone is that it didn't go through, or you're going to get the ADB command and it's going to tell you that it's successful. And you can close the window, and the way you check for S off on your phone, of course, you know, we're on another ROM. So what we have to do is we have to turn our phone off, and we get the option inside of this ROM to go into bootloader. So we're going to reboot into bootloader, and when it reboots into bootloader, it says rebooting. When we reboot back into bootloader, it will say S off. So I have T6WHL PVT ship S off RH. Okay, now one of the things that you need to know is once you S off, when you turn your phone back on, you're going to get some red letters down on the bottom here. You say those just for a second. A lot of people don't like that, but I figure, you know, what's the big deal? It's only on there for a second. And so, of course, the next thing that we want to do, now that we've S'd off our phone, is we want to restore the backup that we did in the beginning. So we're going to go back and we're going to press the power button. We're going to press reboot. We're going to go into recovery. And so, just so we know, we are completely and fully rooted at this point. We can uninstall and install whatever it is we want on our HTC One Max device once we are granted S off, security off. And so we're entering into recovery. Now I'm going to press restore, and I'm going to select the newest one that I did from earlier, and I'm going to restore. Once it restores, you can reboot your phone and use your phone as you always did. So I hope that this video helped someone. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.